This story happened a couple years ago, but I can still remember the event like it happened just a few minutes ago. In my city, they created a walking path that is several miles long and goes halfway the length of the city. It goes along a river for some parts and has trees all around it, and even though you're in the city, it feels secluded enough that sometimes you forget that you're actually in the city, which is nice. The bad part is it's secluded and it does attract a fair amount of riffraff. I usually carry a Swiss Army knife with me, which I received as a gift a while back. I didn't particularly carry it as a defensive tool because I used it for so many other different tasks throughout the day, but I had given some thought to how I could deploy it in a defensive situation should the need ever arise. Now I do carry it as a defensive tool though. It's a good thing I had given it some thought because I was going to have to use it in that capacity on this day. As I was walking along the path like I had so many other times before, this part of the path that I was on had an old abandoned factory on one side, which apparently was left this way for historical reasons, and a bench on the other side with trees all around it. In other words, no one could see you if you were sitting on the bench unless you were on the path and you walked by it. As I approached this area, I noticed a guy sitting on the bench with his head halfway in a backpack, obviously very suspicious looking. And my first thought was he was a junkie that was using. At this point I was probably about 50 feet away or so, and I slowed down my walk to assess the situation and decided it might be best to have my Swiss Army knife ready just in case. I reached my hand into my pocket and flipped the Phillips head screwdriver part out and held it so the screwdriver part was between my middle and ring fingers. I've included a picture to show you what I'm talking about. I always figured had something went down I could use my knife in this manner to punch and inflict more pain. After I had my knife in this position, I sped up my walk and kept my eye on the guy as I went by. He seemed to be in his own world and didn't give much notice to me as I walked by. I was probably about 30 or 40 feet or so past him when another guy came out from behind one of the big trees on the path. He had a broken part of a brick in his hand and my heart felt like it was about to jump out of my chest. As I looked back to run, I saw the guy from the bench was right behind me, and he said at this time, "Give us your wallet and we won't hurt you too badly." In the split second that I had, I decided my best option was to run the way of the guy behind me, as I didn't see a weapon in his hand. And for reference, I could not run towards the factory because there was an 8-foot chain link fence that runs on the side of the path. The dude with the backpack starts to shuffle in front of me trying to stop me, and I can hear the other guy running after me. I still had my knife in my hand at this point, and I doubt they even noticed it. As I got to the guy with the backpack, I threw a punch and hit him right on the side of the jaw with the Phillips head screwdriver, and he dropped like a stone. I continued running, and I must have been going faster than the other guy because he threw the brick he had at me, but he missed. I'm in full adrenaline mode now. I kept running until I knew I was far enough away and I was in a safer area that I could call the police. I told them about what had transpired and they checked out the area, but they could not find the guys. They did, however, say that they saw a puddle of blood in the location that I had hit the guy. It was the scariest situation I had ever found myself in. I'm glad I had my Swiss Army knife with me that day and the presence of mind on how to use it should I have to. Had I not had it with me that day, my punch might have knocked him out, but then again it might not have. I might not have run either. It happened so fast, I'm just glad it played out the way it did. By the way, I want to say thank you for your work on this channel. I find it highly valuable in preparing my mind for what might happen, because I can tell you, it happens very fast. You need to be ready for when it does. You're welcome, submitter. Thank you. If you have an SHTF story that you'd like to share, please email me at reallifeshtf@gmail.com.